Because we want to know whether or not Boeing is handling this crisis effectively, and should they just ground the planes. Well, let's bring in Judy Smith, President and CEO of Smith & Company, and Denny Kelly, a former airline pilot and aviation consultant. Judy, let me start with you first of all. Do you classify this as a crisis, or can we put some of this to just teething pains?
No, I would classify it as a crisis. As was indicated earlier, the stock has gone down. The other thing that is a big problem is you have Boeing saying that the planes are safe. You have the FAA and other agencies saying that they're safe, but it doesn't match up. It's mixed messages because the public has seen, heard, and read about all these planes and their problems. So until the investigation is over, until these issues are resolved, Boeing has a problem.
Do you feel that they're not handling the crisis in the way that they should be? Do you think maybe they're doing themselves a disservice by just saying, no, everything's fine, they're safe? Could they do better?
Well, look, I think what's going to happen is at some point, if there are other planes that have other problems and other issues, that will not only force Boeing, but also perhaps force the agencies to say that we need to ground these planes until all of these problems and issues can be worked out.
Denny, you're a former pilot. Would you fly a 787 today?
No.
Why not?
Until they get the fire problem worked out, I wouldn't want to be up at 33,000 feet over the polar ice cap 4 hours from safe landing strip and in this airplane. I think Boeing needs to figure out what's going on. I agree with Judy. I think it's a crisis, and I would go ahead and ground the airplane and figure out what's going on and fix it so that they don't have anything going on in the future.
I'm going to take the other side a little bit here, Denny, and obviously you know more about it than I do, but listen, you look at the A380, right, the super jumbo from Airbus. There was an issue where they had to make a landing a couple of months ago. There were some structural concerns there, right? Teething pains, to Mandy's point, on all new planes. Should we feel more comforted that this is appears to be a battery issue which can be replaced rather than a structural issue with the fuselage or the wing?
Well, the 380 was grounded for almost a month because of those problems. And the thing that you have to realize here is we're talking about a fire. That's probably the worst thing that can happen to an airplane in flight, with the exception of maybe a structural failure that some major part falls off. You got a fire in the airplane, and it's a major problem. And until they decide what's going on and how to fix it, it still continues to be a problem. You know, there was a fire on a 747 in Saudi Arabia from a lithium battery that caused it to crash. They were hauling lithium batteries into Saudi Arabia. There's been speculation that they're going to stop hauling lithium batteries or let people with their laptops on airplanes because of the lithium batteries. The lithium battery is a problem.
Do you think...
Mandy, can I jump in real quick?
Phil.
One thing people need to keep in mind, our guests are saying they, as if the folks at Boeing are sitting there saying, should we let them fly or should we not? Two things. First of all, there are investigations going on with the FAA and the NTSB, and they have already started looking at data because this plane is connected to Boeing and to the airlines, constantly feeding back data. Now, whether or not it's giving the exact data they want to see, nobody knows at this point, but it's constantly giving back data. So they immediately were looking at that data. If the investigators from the NTSB looked at the Boston fire or looked at what's happening in Japan and said, whoa, there's a serious problem here, you don't think that they would ground these planes immediately? I think that's one of the things that people need to keep in mind.
But you know what the data is. I mean, if the data was so good, then how come that it happened?
Judy?
Well,
I was going to say, this is what we know from a reputation point of view, whether it's the FAA or Boeing, is that the public really appreciates when government agencies, in particular when corporations, put their safety first. And the public has responded well when corporations have done that. So if there's an issue that has not been resolved, it's certainly one of the things that the company ought to consider.
So you think Boeing should shut it down for now, Judy? Boeing should do it. Say, hey, customers, don't fly it right now.
Well, they should certainly consider it. I mean, yes, there's a whole lot of financial issues that they have to consider. But if there are problems with the plane and there's investigations going on, it's certainly something that they should be talking about now.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe Phil, another time we can get into the financials of what it would cost to ground
Yeah.
the plane. We do have to wrap it up there. Let's hope
Yes.
all of this in the long
All
run
right.
leads to a safer plane. Judy, Denny, Phil, thank you very much.